Hi, and welcome to Air Cooled Anything. Today is the first instalment of what will be a whole bunch of posts based around Builder's Choice engine kits from CB Performance. I've bought one, a complete kit, a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm going to be building it up over the next few months. It is the 2017cc version of their kits. They sell a whole bunch of them. And this is one, after talking to them and doing a little bit of research, is the best one suited for my 1970 Westphalia. It's the same engine setup that Gene Berg ran in his bus. So if it's good enough for Gene Berg, it's definitely going to be good enough for me. A little bit extra top end, a lot more torque, get up hills, not stuck in the slow lane, and just having a bit more fun with the bus, making it safer on the road for me and the fam to use. So, why have I bought one of these kits, these Builder's Choice kits? I've got no real solid answer to that. A lot of my friends who are engine building experts and have companies which specifically do that advise against buying a complete kit from somebody, because whereas CB Performance might make a really good linkage, for example, other components they make might not be as good in their professional opinion as other manufacturers like SCAT or MP or many other manufacturers who make engine parts. So if you're going to build a really good engine, I guess you get the bits and pieces from lots of different manufacturers, and you mix and match, and you make your own bespoke engine. But, you know, I've been in the scene a relatively short amount of time compared to a lot of the people I've met along the way. And ever since I got into the scene, I've been buying magazines and reading articles in magazines, and they're talking about CB Performance, this, that and the other. And it's sort of like seen as like a really great thing. And I've always seen their kits advertised on the web, and I've always fancied building one. I'm no expert in building engines. I've got very limited experience. I've got very limited tools compared to an engine shop. I can't line bore stuff. I can't do head work. I can't do any of that sort of stuff. I haven't even got a lathe. No room for it in this place. So I wanted something that's pretty easy to assemble, that I hadn't got to send out the engines I've done before, like this Acrasa one. I've had to send the case out and other bits and pieces out, rods and stuff, to have work done to them, and then you're just sitting around on your arse for like 4 months waiting for these parts to come back from somebody. So I was wanting something that I could assemble, and during what is now the second lockdown, saw this coming and ordered this all up, and it's all arrived. So this first post is just about unboxing the kit. So without further ado, let's start unboxing and have a look at what we've got. I've got I've condensed it all down. I've moved it all around into 3 boxes. It came with literally a wheelie bin full of polystyrene chips. I hate polystyrene chips, and it came with a wheelie bin full of them. So it took me a few hours to sort through everything and get rid of the chips. So let's have a look at what we've got. Right, first thing that came, it's a big order. First thing that came is this. It is a oil cooler. Comes with some hose. I'll replace that with a stainless braided hose. Comes with all the fixtures and fittings and fastenings for connecting it. And it's a lot smaller. I've never built an engine with an oil cooler before. It's a lot smaller than I anticipated. There it is, small little thing. And there you go, that's it. So there are your inputs and outputs. It has an electric fan which is thermostatically controlled. You bolt it underneath the bus, and hopefully in the British weather, with all the wet weather we get, it's not going to go pop. So it bolts up. I'll find somewhere, we'll bolt it up underneath the bus, and that keeps the engine nice and cool. I'm thinking about putting a thermostat underneath one of the plugs, number 3, because that's the one that gets the hottest, and having a display in the cab to show me what the probably a digital display hidden away so you can't really see it, to show you what the head temperature is, so you don't get your engine running too hot. That should keep it nice and cool. Breather box comes in fancy packaging. All this sort of stuff reminds me of that engine dress up crap you buy when you first get into the scene when you're a kid, and you bolt onto your engine, you think it makes your engine look better, and it actually just makes it work less efficiently, and it looks shit. But this seems to be quite well made. It's cast aluminium pieces, aluminium plate, all the fastenings and hose connectors and stuff you need. It's even got the nut which goes inside your cooler stand, your dyno stand, to bolt it on through there. Clutch disc, fuel pump with filter, and CB recommend this because it delivers exactly the amount of fuel you need for your carbs. Some fuel hose. This is a nice piece of kit. It looks like a stock crank pulley, but it's actually aluminium billet lightweight. That's actually quite a nice piece of kit though. This is a cooling fan for your engine shroud, late model, more efficient than the earlier ones, keeps the engine a little bit cooler again. Alternator pulley, because it's going to be running an alternator. Looks stock, but it's a CB performance one. It has CB on the nut. What's this? This is the hex bar for the dual carb setup, the linkage hex bar. Nice chunky. Their fan belt they recommend. And also, here is an adjustable, you can see that, adjustable push rod tube. And you use this to accurately set up your rocker geometry so that it's working perfectly. And then I've got, well, somewhere in one of these boxes, I have some push rods, race push rods, which are over length, and I will cut down to the same dimensions that we measure with this. So it's got perfect geometry. This is, believe it or not, the coil that goes along with the Magnus Spark distributor I've bought from CB Performance. It's their own distributor. I've heard good things and bad things about it, mainly good things, which is why I bought it. And this is the specific coil pack to go with that distributor. Ordinary, you know, like cylindrical coil will not work with it. It is not very pretty, but it hides away right next to the fan, and it's kind of hidden away. We'll see. And it's black. The whole engine's going to be predominantly black, so hopefully it will just melt into the background of that. Here we go. Here we have a external fuel filter mounting bracket. So these three holes, you bolt that to the body, and then underneath on this the fuel filter screws in, and you've got your lines coming in and out. And there's some connectors there as well. A set of CB Performance, made in the USA, spark plugs. Air cleaners, pretty standard. And there are mountings on these for the linkage. They go on top of the carbs, and the linkage mounts to that, hopefully. We will find out. Carb linkage, looks really well made. It's really heavy duty. Nice looking ball joints. Yeah, it looks pretty good. There you go. Right, that is in there. I'm not going to open the box just yet. Is the external fuel filter, oil filter rather. Screws onto that thing. Stock oil cooler mount. So that bolts to the case of the engine, and then the oil filter, which is here in this box. Another box, I'm not going to open it. There's just a standard stock oil cooler rather, it goes in there, and there's your grommets to attach it to here and here and here, sorry, here and here and here and here. Distributor drive gearing. So that meshes up with your cam gear, goes through the case, and your distributor attaches to that. Right, so this is the mechanical fuel pump block off, and also it is the clamp for this thing. So this sits on the engine and that clamps to that. I'm not sure how that works, we'll find out. Fancy pants, distributor drive clamp, black anodized aluminium, and the studs in there as well, the case stud. No nut, so we'll have to find a nut for it. Right, here are some carburetor gaskets, and there is a T-coupling for fuel line, and then these thin bolts, I imagine, for the air cleaners. I don't know, we'll have to take it all out of its boxes and have a look. Some Jubilee clips in there for your fuel hoses and some fasteners and all that sort of stuff. A set of 4 brand new spark plugs. Oh, so that is a pressure release bearing for the clutch. So if we're taking the engine out of the bus, we might as well just replace that pressure release bearing, so we've got a new one. And then here we have Fancy Pants CB Performance Magnus Spark 2. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at it. Book of words. That's a big thing. And here it is. That looks pretty well made. It's made out of a solid piece of aluminium, screw down cap with some very nasty looking fasteners. Probably replace those with something that looks a little bit nicer. Grey cap, disappointing. I actually ordered black cap and it's sent up with a grey one. And so I will email them, and they're very, very helpful guys. They're really good. They've been very patient with me being based in the UK about shipping it out. They helped me ship it all. It wasn't easy. Came in 2 separate shipments, and the guy at CB Performance I was dealing with, Dave, was an absolute legend. He really did help with all my questions and queries about the engine and what components are going to work best with that particular builder's choice kit. He was really great. So big up to Dave. Right, what else we got? A set of engine case studs. So these are yeah, standard engine case studs. CB Performance ones. They're black, nice. Silver fasteners, black nuts, silver washers rather, black nuts, nice. What we've got here, we have more engine case hardware. So oil pressure release, valve and spring. The other oil spring, it's not oil pressure release. Can't remember what it's called. And we've oil drain plugs, a block off, and some other studs, which I should imagine, I can't imagine what they're for. We'll figure them out. Not sure what they're for. See, I told you I don't know what I'm doing. Another set of nuts and bolts and hardware. That's engine case hardware, I imagine. Yeah, case washer set. Here is the dual weight flywheel. And I paid a little bit extra to have the whole engine balanced. So they balanced the whole kit and caboodle, crank, pistons, rods, and flywheel with the clutch attached. Apparently they do it with the clutch attached, but I noticed there is no pin. Normally when you have a flywheel balanced, you have a pin drilled into the flywheel and a hole in the clutch mechanism, so that when you put the clutch on, it can only go one way, and that's the way that the whole thing was balanced. So that says to me that they didn't balance it with the clutch on, but apparently the rest of it has been balanced. CB Performance rockers and assembly. Apparently, according to their website, these are only available when you buy one of their builder's choice kits. Apparently these are, according to them, the best ones for the job. They're not. They do some super high spec race ones which look amazing. These are not those, but apparently they work brilliantly well for my application, and they're the right ones that I need. So here we have all the bits when you build up your crank and you put your gearing on your crank and you put your bearing on your crank. These are all the bits and pieces you need: oil chucker, washer, spacer, C-clip, and your Woodruff keys, and what looks like a tiny spring. And I don't know what the spring is for. We'll find out. Oil sump. So this bolts onto the bottom of the case. It gives you extra oil to sit in the case, so the more oil, the less work it has to do with transferring heat through the coolers and that sort of stuff. So it keeps the engine cooler, having more oil in. And it comes with an oil pickup extension tube, which you just bash on the end, I hope, and it's pretty simple. Yeah, it's got a split end here. You can't see it through the wrap. And a Jubilee clip, and you just tie it on. You just tighten it up with a Jubilee clip. All sounds a bit airy-fairy to me. Much prefer to weld it on. One engine case, CB Performance Super engine case, manufactured in Brazil, I believe. I must admit, I'm a bit disappointed in the fact it doesn't look that clean. There's a little bit of corrosion on it, and that is going to be the first thing we do is clean this up. This will be the first post on this project is to clean this up, and we are going to paint it black, satin black, 2-pack paint, because I said the engine's all going to be black, and it'll look really nice once it's all done and painted up in black. Yeah, I mean, actually, you can see the work they've done to it. They've done some work with the cylinders bed in. You can see all the shiny metal here and here, but they've done all the work. Looking at the bore, all looks nice. I mean, I'm not going to split it now, but it looks great. A little bit grubby, but you know, I mean, the engines I've built before, I use a guy here in London who's a really brilliant vapor blaster, and he brings the engines back. I mean, like this one here, he brings them back to like better than factory. Beautiful looking they are. So I'm used to seeing a lot cleaner cases than that, but I guess in the grand scheme of things, when you used to pulling an engine out of a car, it's actually pretty clean. Clutch, the rest of the clutch. So there we go, rest of the clutch. Some pretty standard looking pushrod tubes, all new. Oh, now that's nice. Oil pump, CB Performance oil pump, and it's got an outlet here. That's very nicely made. Oh, I do like that. That looks good. 2242 Engel racing cam. I won't get that out because I don't want it to get dirty, but yep, so that's your cam. And as I say, the idea of these kits is, you know, like the cam, the cylinder heads, the crank, everything, you know, even down to the rockers. The whole thing is built to work, and it's tested by them, and they bench test them. Not the specific kit, but you know, the kit as a whole is figured out with years and years of their experience to work. So I know I'm going to bolt it all together and it's going to work. Pistons and barrels. Marley pistons, barrels, pretty standard. More gaskets for carbs. I should imagine that's for the head end. Straight cut cam gears. Now, one of the questions I had to the CB guys, and Dave never got back to me, is, you know, like, never fitted an engine with straight cut cam gears. You see the teeth on the gears are just they run perpendicular to the flat plane of the gear, whereas cam gears, all the cam gears I've fitted before, rather than the teeth running that way, they run at a slight angle. So the question I asked was, will this work with the distributor drive, which we pulled out earlier? and he didn't reply, so I just assumed the answer was yes. And of course, assumptions lead to problems. Claude's buggies, rocker covers, Bolton rocker covers. They're quite sexy, like those. CB Performance push rods, as you can see, only got one end fitted. You cut them to size, and there's the ends which you fit yourself. Must admit, I am dreading that. You really should cut them down on a lathe. I haven't got a lathe, so I am going to cut them down by hand, and then hopefully square them off nicely by hand. It's all a little bit dodgy, but we'll see how it goes. 28mm ultra light lifters, so the CB Performance homemade lifters, ultra light. Engine bearings, they call them their race bearings, but they are made by a company called Silverline. I should imagine specifically for them. Rod bearings, the camshaft bearings, also made by Silverline. Super race rods. Now they do look nice. They do look really nice. And these should all be balanced. When we start putting the thing together, we'll get the scales out and we'll weigh them all, and we'll see if they are right. Just by feeling it, I think this is a intake manifold, inlet manifold. Yeah, these are the inlet manifolds, which I will also paint black. I quite like. You see on this engine here, inlet manifolds there painted black. Well, I might paint them, but I might not actually. We'll see. We'll mock it up. We'll put them on. We'll see what we think. It might look really nice black. I think they'll look nice black. There's the other one. 78.4mm stroke crank. Nice and weighty. In here we have their Panchito, I imagine, because it's the only thing we haven't found yet. We have their Panchito heads, which are made by them, and let's see what they look like compared to your standard heads. Let's have a look at these. Yeah, there we go. It says stamping in there, Panchito 044, and there's the CB logo. Yeah, they do look really nicely made. Springs look good. It says a warning on there, all studs are loose. Make sure to lock tight and tighten all studs. Well, there's no studs fitted, so I'd always lock tighten them. Wow, they look fancy. And somewhere else in the workshop there is some more bits. There's I haven't brought out the carbs. So I've found the carbs, and here they are. They're Weber 44 IDF, made in Spain. If you sniff them, not a single drop of fuel has ever been through these. They're brand new, spotless. I say spotless, there's a bit of gunge in the bottom here. Bit of gunge in there, we'll clean that out. Yeah, pretty lightweight, look clean, look nice. I've never run Webers, never even had a car with Webers on. I've always, if I have a choice, I'll choose Delorto or Solex, obviously, for the earlier motors. I've run Zenith as well on early Porsche engines, 356 engines, but the main reason for that is because they've come with them. I also really like the look of them, the boxy look of them. I really like them. So I've never run Webers. A lot of my mates in the scene think these are terrible, and likewise a lot of the guys in the States think that their autos are terrible, and I think that's to do with parts. I mean, obviously parts are readily available everywhere for Webers, and you can buy a set new. These rattle. You can buy a set new, and it's very easy with Delortos. I'd have to buy a used set and then again send them away for months, and have them reconditioned. I use a company here in the UK called the Demon Carb Exchange. They've currently got the Solex P42s for my Crusher, which they restore, and when they do restore them, they come back like looking like this. They replate all the parts, and they rebore the chokes, make new butterflies, etc, etc. And they also have a set of Zeniths, which are going on my 54 Bug, which has a 356 motor in it. So just for ease of use, I thought I'll go with these. CB Performance recommend these. They're talking to the guys more in depth. Some of them do run Dells, and they prefer them. They prefer the flow on them. But you know, never had Webbers. Give them a go. So I thought I'd give them a go. Anyway, thanks for watching. Next instalment, we'll be painting the engine case. So come back soon and see me.